Hey guys, thanks for joining early. We're gonna get started really soon. Just want to wait for a couple more people to come in. Wait till about 1 o'clock and then we'll get things started off. Okay. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Let me start sharing the screen. All right. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit more time and then we'll kind of jump into this. Just give somebody, the users that haven't jumped on yet, the chance to come on. By the way, if you guys have any kind of questions, you guys could probably ask it right now. And I'll get to it really shortly, just after the kind of intro, and then I'll go into the questions, and then I'll go into the main topic, which will be rebate giveaway automation flows. I know I touched on that kind of the first call, but Troy wanted me to revisit it, and kind of go over some of the newer features we're adding on. So yeah, oh, looks like Troy's here now. Hello.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good.
It's good. Awesome. So I think we're just about ready to start this thing off. It's about 1 o'clock now. So essentially, guys, the main topic of this week is going to be rebate automation flows. So again, I know I've touched this on this, I want to say the first week we had these support calls, but there's just a couple different things we want to go into and then just kind of how to set up. And then I'll be also talking about additional add-on flows that you can incorporate with these flows to kind of better utilize this to help you guys rank products. So let's just get into a little bit of the housekeeping kind of thing. Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. We're going to have a Q&A before kind of the main topic, before I start really running into the meat of things, and then afterwards as well. So we'll have that short period of time you can ask questions. You can raise your hand, and then we'll try to get to you guys as quickly as we can. And of course, if we do unmute you by any means, like just don't share any kind of sensitive information in the chat or in person. Just keep that in mind. So if you guys have any questions, this would kind of be the time to place them. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's got any kind of questions.
Yeah, and as those are coming in, Tyler, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping as well, especially as I see a lot of new names, which is great to have you join us now that we've been kicking off these weekly ManyChat advanced support and training calls. So definitely glad to see you all. And a few questions that I've been getting that I want to address. And so for those that are coming back on, and obviously we do aim to make this available just to Seller.Tools users. Having said that, and then I know there's been those that have been asked, can we share this? Can others take part? I would love to keep it to users, but if you do have somebody in your network, I know how that goes. I mean, if we cover something really cool and nifty and they want to join us, Tyler and I and the team are not too strict when it comes to getting them this training, because I think it's immensely beneficial. So just wanted to mention that in terms of any kind of sharing or those that you would like to have attend. And then another question that we got, and I wanted to share this with you for those that are attending. So definitely keep an eye on the chat during our support calls, because we drop links. Tyler will drop free ManyChat flows, all kinds of good stuff that flows through the chat option. But what I also want to share with you, and I was not aware that this wasn't as common knowledge, is that we have a number of agencies, Seller.Tools, ManyChat experts that come through, and then even just sellers and brand owners that are asking about our affiliate program. And one of the things I want you guys to know is that we offer lifetime commissions on any referrals that come through and that you share. And you actually don't even have to be a Seller.Tools user. You can refer, somebody in your network, somebody in a Facebook group, and so I want to just drop a link in the chat. Let me make sure it goes to everybody, so you know where to access that. Our affiliate dashboard is super duper straightforward, where you can just create a code, add in your PayPal, so we know where to send those commissions, and then for each referral, you can earn again, what we refer to as lifetime commissions. As long as they're a subscriber, you earn those. So that came up a
Nice.
little bit more after the customer list teaser and the mention of what's to come with buyer quality. So I think a lot of people are seeing. We are definitely getting a lot of eyeballs, which is great. A lot of interest in terms of what we are doing, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew that's available to you as well, and where the resource is to take part.
Awesome. Cool, cool. So it doesn't look like we have any kind of questions, at least not from the users. You've obviously answered a couple there that you've been getting maybe more personal, but yeah, so I think I'm going to jump into it unless you want to add anything else.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
Okay. So let's go into the next slide. So what are rebate automation? So I would say probably the most of you guys already know what this is. So I'm just going to kind of give a very brief kind of what it is and how it works. So essentially what rebate automation flows are is utilizing ManyChat and then Seller.Tools features to kind of automate the process of distributing rebates to customers. And of course, ManyChat just kind of automates the messenger side, or it could either be kind of Instagram. I mean, it's on the infancy kind of stage right now, but it just kind of automates the messaging that you're going to be giving the customers. And then Seller.Tools kind of partners up, in a way with them where it further automates by, verifying the order, giving out the rebate, checking the blacklist, making sure there's no problem in terms of like giving away too many units, so having a counter and so on. So there's a lot of just automation that Seller.Tools provides. So it's like kind of like a level up, if you will. Because in the past, the way sellers used to do it, and I've done this like myself, and I'm sure Troy may have done it as well like this, is where we used to just, get the information, have it on a spreadsheet, and then manually PayPal those individuals. So obviously with Seller.Tools, you're able to further automate that and not need to do all this manual work. Okay, so kind of the first thing you're going to need in order to kind of set these up is you're going to need a Facebook page and a ManyChat account. Again, I know probably the vast majority of you guys watching right now already have this. I kind of have to mention it just because it is, pretty important to have. Now, there's a lot of debate between should we use a brand page or should we use kind of like a no name, deal page? And there is no perfect answer to this because I have some clients that have, their brand page, and then I have other clients that have deal pages. However, I will say that the brand pages usually have like this built-in trust because it's like, oh, I might have shopped with that person before, or oh, these guys are like more real. So it's usually a lot easier to convert people in terms of like a brand page compared to like a no-name brand, a no-name deal page. So kind of keep that in count. I do understand why, okay, I don't want it connected to my brand. I want to leave this like kind of separate. So that's why people hover towards the deal page, or maybe they don't want their competitors knowing what they're doing. So that's why they do the other side where it's like a deal page. But in the long term, if you're able to, if the client or yourself are comfortable using your brand accounts to actually run these rebates, it's just so much easier to convert these customers / users. And if you're going to be maybe transitioning into Instagram, I know I touch on that here and there, and I probably will continue to touch on it because I think it's definitely going to be a pivotal piece. If you plan on transitioning into Instagram, building that trust is like, it's invaluable. It's a social proof is the equivalent of reviews in Amazon. So if you don't have any social proof, it's like having a product with 0 reviews trying to run PPC. It's a very uphill battle. So I just want to mention that there are pros and cons of having both, and you have to kind of weigh whatever options you want to do. Okay, next. So the next kind of portion is how to install and how to actually, use all the different parts inside the rebate automation flows. So there's basically three main ingredients. You have to have a Facebook page and a ManyChat account connected to said Facebook page. And then you're going to need access to Seller.Tools. Again, these are two things I'm pretty sure you guys already have. So it's like kind of check, check. And then the last thing is actually having access to the free flows, which again, is probably something you guys already have. But again, this is just all stuff that's pretty simple, right? Like it's making a Facebook page, having like a API or Seller.Tools API account, right? So meaning you have like a certain tier of plan, and then having access to the free flows. And again, you don't necessarily need to use our templates. I know there are lots in kind of the community. We provide you guys with some fairly simple and really useful advanced flows that you guys can use and utilize. And then of course you can edit it to match your branding / goals. So the first part, and I'm not gonna go into this like a crazy amount of detail because again, I believe that most of you guys already have a Facebook page. If you guys want, there's a little video here and I will drop this into the chat right now. This is basically how to connect a Facebook page to a ManyChat account. If this is something you're not sure of how to do, you're not sure how to make a Facebook page or an Instagram account or any of those kind of things, I'd highly recommend just going like a quick Google or YouTube search and just looking it up. Normally I have like screenshots going into like, okay, this is how you do it, so on. But like, I felt like this was just something that's like very simple. And there's so many other, content creators or just content period about said topic that it's just not worth me taking the time screenshotting and all this because how simple it is. So again, first step, make sure you have a ManyChat account / Facebook page connected to said account. And then figure out, okay, brand, do I want to use my brand page? Do I want to use a deal page? And then, yeah. The next thing, Seller.Tools account. You're going to need a Seller.Tools account to at least utilize the flows we use. So you're gonna need at least API key. So like I know the free plan, well, there's a certain, I think it's called Lit, I believe, Troy, right? Can you just comment on that one plan? I think it's called Lit.
Yeah, the plan with API access is the starter plan.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so anything above the kind of starter plan, and I think Troy maybe could touch on this a little bit more, is the billing will change at some point here soon in the future, in a good way. So just keep that in mind, guys, that at some point things may move around. Like right now, if you have starter plan, nothing's going to change. Your plans aren't going to go anywhere, but things are going to change in a way where it could be a little bit more dynamic based on kind of what you're needing, what your needs are. So I don't know if Troy wants to touch on that because I know that's I'll let you kind of finish that one off.
Yeah, no, definitely more to come there in terms of different options, based on a lot of the feedback that we received of more packages really fitting where sellers are at. No major changes. If you're on an existing plan, it's all very predictable from there, but it will give you also more options of, obviously we cover a wide array of solutions too. So we've got to think about keywords and the products that you manage and the number of credentials. And so plenty of moving pieces, but the upcoming changes that you'll see are really feedback driven, and we'll kind of cater to where we've seen people wanting to land in terms of plan and price.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So the next thing here, and this is kind of where the call is going to take up most of the time here. And this is kind of our rebate automation. These are kind of the beta flows. Obviously, there are some on the website, the 4.0 versions. And those ones there are not something that I don't think we're going to continue with. I think we're going to keep them on there just for the time being, because if anybody wants to use those ones, they prefer that style, then by all means. These are kind of, I want to call them the beta ones that I've made just a little bit of, for all the different versions we have. And I'd like to go into kind of editing this with you guys live and kind of going over how to do it, and kind of the little nuances here and there. And I'll let you guys, the audience, pick which version you want to do. Now, Instagram, I have it here. I actually have the template. So if you guys want to view it, you can. Unfortunately, I won't be able to actually edit it live because the account that I plan on doing it on, which is the Seller.Tools account, doesn't actually have a Instagram account connected to it. So I can't publish the changes if I do ever make changes in the Instagram flow. Because the way it works is like you need to have an Instagram account connected to the ManyChat account to actually publish changes if there's any Instagram nodes on there. I'm hoping I explained that properly, but essentially I can't. My hands are tied a little bit on that one. I do have a template, so if you guys want to see it, you can. There is a small difference, and I might be able to cover that in the call. It's very, very minute. It's almost the exact same as this multiple versions rebate. The only big difference is like the user actually has to engage with the bot in order to check the rebate status, because the way it works is like there's still a 24-hour window, at least for the automation section of it, and I can't just like message them like, oh, it's been shipped, because if they're outside of that 24-hour window, there's no way of communicating with them because there are no messenger like message tags as of right now anyways. So I'll let you guys kind of pick. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all the different kind of options. So if you guys want to go in the chat and just kind of vote on whatever option you want me to like edit live time with you guys, then I'll do that.
And just to recap too, Tyler, what you touched on, these are, so we still have the existing free flows that you can access on the Seller.Tools site. They, and you'll notice this in the naming convention, are 4.0 versions, let's say. And what Tyler is ever so humbly, he doesn't give himself enough credit. He's built out all of these flows completely free to share with you guys on this call, and they're extremely powerful. And again, we'll dive into some of the specifics. So Tyler has a knack for just like, here's a ton of value, and then we're going to jump right into it. And I have to sort of reset and say, wait, what exists? Again, you can still use some of our old templates. Everything works well. But of course, as we release a new version and Tyler and the team, we have more implementation. We just further optimize and refine those best practices that can show up in some of these free flows. So I see a few things popping up too in the chat. Maybe we can hit on those real quick, Tyler. For number one option would be great to see. Number one, and he just dropped. Cool, Tyler. I just saw you drop that into the chat.
I just dropped basically a link to a Google document with all the different. I want to call them beta, but like, I mean, they're really polished. But essentially, the beta access templates. And in this, you're going to see a lot of different variations, right? Like in terms of like rebates, the internal giveaways, and then there's like additional add-on ones. And I plan on continuously adding some as we go through kind of this training, because I don't want to just like add everything and then just like, okay, guys, like make it work. So I want to try to segment this in a way that you guys are going to be able to digest and hopefully use it and implement it. So I see a lot of ones, and essentially the one is the pick or award. I know there was one question, which one's the most popular? And in my honest opinion, like the flows I've run, I always usually run multiple options. And essentially that gives the users / customers the option to pick what rebate version they want, whether it be PayPal, Venmo, Amazon gift cards, so on. And I would say most people tend to lean towards PayPal and Amazon gift cards. That's the vast majority of people, at least if you give the customers the option, right? If you don't give them the option, then obviously they're not going to be able to pick something different. But most people tend to gravitate towards those two options. So I usually just like to give them the option. But if we want to do pick or reward, that's fine. Let's do pick or reward. So I'm going to probably have to stop sharing at some point when I get to step 2, just because I have to kind of keep some of the information when it comes to choosing the page. We have it connected to a whole bunch, and I don't want to show off all the pages. But essentially, when you click the link, you're going to be brought to this page. Now you can actually go to the demo bot if you want. So you like copy this and paste it in your browser, and you can actually see what the bot would look like as a demo. It doesn't have any of the logic connected to it, so it's just, keep in mind, it's just the scripts that the users will see, or customers. And there's also an overview video of me kind of going over it. And at some point, we're probably gonna have to, upload this to YouTube, maybe polish it a little bit better. But it's just an overview video of me explaining kind of step by step. And again, this call will be going kind of over that as well. But I believe the overview might be able to go into like a little bit more detail. It's a little long though. It's about 50 to an hour. So you might want to keep that in mind. And then this is just kind of instructions on like how to do certain steps and what you should be doing. So I'm going to stop sharing just for the time being. Once I pick the page, I'll continue sharing again. Just let me pick the page here. Okay, so all
And if
right.
you just real quick, Tyler, too, while you're doing that, if you guys can just share a quick confirmation, I just want to make sure you do have access to the doc that Tyler shared. I know Francisco was asking about being able to access it. I just want to make sure that's in your hands so that everything we're covering, you have it at a click away. So let me see. I might try to
You don't have
see here.
access.
Oh, you okay? Here we go. All right, I'm gonna do another
Should have
panelists and attendees. Make sure that Zoom is good to go. And then please do let me know if that comes through, okay?
Hmm. Yeah, it should have access to it. I made it so it's basically everybody can. Okay, perfect. Looks like you guys have access to it. So I just picked the Facebook page again. Like it's really nothing crazy I just did there. I just picked the page, and I of course had to stop screen sharing just because I didn't want to show off any sensitive information. So one thing I will say that, and this doesn't just go for our templates. This goes for basically any template. When you download somebody else's kind of templatized ManyChat flows, always take a look when it says finalization. Always take a look at the tags and fields and bot fields that are merging onto your page, because this is kind of very important. This can mess you up in a bad way if you're not careful. Now, the way I do things, and again, this is not going to be the way that most ManyChatters do it. Hopefully, down the line, people will start doing it like this too. But essentially, I make it so it has like quotation mark product name. So that way you know that this bot field is for a specific product. And then this tag is for a specific product right here. So that little field is for a specific product. And I think this 0 is a glitch because I've seen it a couple of times, and I don't know, I think ManyChat has a little glitch there, but you're not supposed to see a 0 there. But I don't know what that means. It's just there. But essentially, these fields, you do not want them to merge onto something pre-existing in the into the page, because if there's something pre-existing into the page, that means those two fields are going to be kind of together, right? They'll be merged as one. And then if let's say it's like the daily maximum, and you're running for product A and product B, and they're both connected to the same daily maximum. If you want to change that daily maximum from, I don't know, product A to be 10 and product B to be 15, then you can't do that because they're the same field. So it's going to conflict information. And the tag is one of the most important things, because if that information conflicts, and say user or customer A buys product B and wants to buy product A, then they won't be able to, because they have the same tag kind of protecting them. I'm hoping that makes sense. But the big thing is just make sure that the unique fields for a specific product are not merging together. Some fields, it doesn't matter. Example is like, the hashed email doesn't matter. This one doesn't matter. Most of these don't matter. The only ones that are very important are the ones that have these little quotation mark product name on there. So now that we see that this is good, right? Everything's pans out correctly. So we're going to install that. Now this is called the install page, and this is where you're going to find the template fields. Template fields are actually the exact same thing as bot fields. But yeah, this is where you're going to want to edit the amount of daily giveaways you want to give. So I'm just going to keep it at 10, but obviously if you wanted to change that, this is where you do that. You can also change it inside the settings, which I will go into a little later. And then the minimum amount. So I actually chose kind of a product quickly here. I chose the little Corolla, Corolla little pencils. And basically what we want to do is we want to grab the ASIN. You can grab the ASIN either here or at the bottom of the listing, right over here. So I just want to grab that ASIN, and I want to paste the ASIN right over here. This is be kind of the unique identifier for not only the Seller.Tools kind of ASIN that it's going to be cross-referencing, so making sure that you're buying the right ASIN, but it's also going to be for the counter. So this is like the unique identifier to make sure your counter is different from others. So we're going to make sure we get the ASIN there, and then the minimum amount. So what's the price here? So the price is about $5. So normally it's $8. I'll just make so the balance has to be at least $10, just to be on the safe side. Usually I like to keep it like $5 to $3 more than whatever the product price is at, for at least the minimum balance. And then the kind of optimized link. So the optimized link is essentially how users are going to find you. So this could be a two-step URL, this could be a branded URL, this could be a Supreme URL. There's all kinds of different URLs. So I'm not going to do anything crazy. If you really want kind of assistance into making a special link, like a two-step URL or something like that, you can go to Jenny, right? And then that will actually help you make that unique link. Later into this call, I'm actually going to go into finding other other methods. So like search, find, buy, and then having like a keyword URL rotator. So there'll be two different versions, and I'll show you guys that later down the line. I just want to keep it simple for now. So I'm just going to paste that there. The next thing we need to do is, and again, if you already have this connected, you don't have to worry about it. But the next thing you want to do is you want to go into apps, and then you want to go find Seller.Tools. The nice thing is with the template, it'll actually install the app automatically. So is you want to actually put in the API keys. Now, as you can see here, I just put test and live as just an example. Obviously, this is not going to work. So what you need to do is you need to sign into your Seller.Tools account. And this is something I'm sure you guys have probably done. So I'm just going to go over this fairly quickly. Sign in, go API, then you go API keys, and then you're going to click copy, and then you'll click copy again. I'm not going to do that just because, again, this will reveal sensitive information. But again, it's very simple. You copy this, you paste it into this field, and it'll look something like that. And then same with the live key. There'll be like little dots here, like every, I think, 5 or 10 characters. I think there's a dot. So it'll look something similar. And then same with the live key. You're just going to take your keys from the Seller.Tools dashboard right here. Make sure you take the test and you put it inside the test field. And then you take the live and you put it inside the live field. And that'll make sure. Now, the only difference is, just to quickly talk about this, the only differences between the test and the live key is that the test key will not make, well, it'll make sandbox gift cards, meaning the gift cards won't actually be attached to any funds. It'll just make like a more or less fake gift card. And then the live key will give actual like gift cards, meaning like there'll be funds behind it. So the only time you'll really use a test key is when you're testing the flows to say, will they work? And I don't actually want to refund myself. I just want to see if it's going to work. Keep in mind though, with the live API key, it still will cross-reference and verify orders. So if you give it a fake order, it's not going to work even with the test key. So keep that in mind. The next part we're going to, and I know I'm rambling on here a little long, but we're almost at least done the editing side of things. So the next part we want to go into is the settings. And then you want to go into fields, which is under automation and bot fields. Now, this isn't 100% necessary, but I would definitely recommend doing it basically all the time, is editing. Remember how it was like product name with little quotation marks? You actually want to edit that field to match whatever your product name is. So as you can see right here, I just did a Control F, by the way, and then I started typing in product name. Just because we have a lot of bot fields, so I didn't want to scroll around. So what I'll do is I'm just going to grab I'll just grab colored pencil set as my product name. Usually your product name should be anywhere from 3 to 2 words, roughly speaking. And then I'm just going to replace that. So that way we know this product is for this specific thing. And then when you go to install a new template, it'll actually make sure that it's not going to merge because these are now unique fields. So I just do that. Okay, so I had 4 bot fields. So it looks like, unfortunately, this is a little too long. So I have to delete some stuff here. So I'll just do that. Keep like an A there. The last thing we want to do is the same thing for tags. So you'd go into the settings, then you go tags or under automation tags, and then you want to change this right over here to match your product name as well, just like that. Bam. Now, believe it or not, the flows themselves are actually ready to go. So you don't need to edit anything further than that. You can actually use them and not even be in Flow Builder at all. I specifically designed it. Obviously, you might want to like take a look at this and then change some of the scripts to match your branding / goals. Or maybe you'll want to add in additional flows, which I'm going to go into that a little down the line. But essentially, like that's it. Like you don't need to be technically in Flow Builder. I would definitely verify that things are connected properly in terms of like your Seller.Tools. Let me just show you an example here. Your Seller.Tools kind of API connections, because for whatever reason, when you have more than one group, so if I was going to settings and then apps and then Seller.Tools, if you have more than one group, it won't actually put on any group. It won't essentially, let me think of a word here. It won't attach it to any group. So you have to be very specific in that. So if you only have one group, or just like kind of what we had, then it doesn't matter. It'll automatically link to the right group. But if you have multiple groups, then it won't link. So that's something that can happen. And that's one of the reasons why Seller.Tools might not be working at that time, is because there's multiple groups. So what you would do to check that is you would just click like this, and then you would click one of the Seller.Tools actions. So in this case, it's just checking the counter, and then you'll see live API key, right? That's good, that's what we want. It's going to reset at midnight. And of course you can change that to noon if you'd really like. And then this is the kind of bot field that it's connected to, as you can see. So remember how I changed the name, and because I changed it, it automatically updated here, which is really neat. So that's it. So now we know that this is kind of working. But again, if you had, and I just want to show you guys, because this is something that I see, I wouldn't say it quite often, but I see it once in a while, and it's something that's fairly simple to fix. It's just, if you don't know about it, then it's hard to fix it. If you have multiple groups, meaning like you have group 1, group 2, because you can add groups here, as you can see right here. You can have like as many as you really want. Right, I have some accounts that literally have like 10 groups, and the more groups you have, well, if you have more than one group, you essentially need to link that inside Seller.Tools, inside the flows, right? So you need to say, okay, this action is for this group, and then you have to say, okay, this is for the live key or the test key. So just keep that in mind. If you have more groups, you have more problems, kind of thing. And then in terms of organization, and this is something that's not absolutely necessary, I would highly recommend doing it. In my little overview, I go over this, essentially making folders for things. So one folder I would definitely make is kind of a rebate giveaway folder. And this is where you can hold all your products, right? So this is just an example of what it would look like. You have your rebate giveaway folder, and you have product 1, product 2, product 3, and so on. If you have more products, then you can obviously add them here. And when you install a template, it's going to go into all of this folder. So what you can do right here is, I would highly advise you would just delete most of the naming here, and you would say whatever your product name is. So in my case, it's this color set, and I'll say pick a reward. So let me just actually just delete this. I'll take this and I'll go like that. 5.5 and just like that. And now I have this kind of nice folder here, and I would just throw that inside my rebate giveaway folder. And the main reason why you're doing this is A, to keep things organized on your side, and then B, if you start kind of developing a team, or maybe you're working with others, this is like really useful, because then people kind of all understand how things are working. Because I've been in quite a few accounts where it's just like a massive laundry of different folders all in one, and you're not really sure where to find things because they're all named very similar and so on. So that is, I mean, that's pretty much it for rebate automation. I know we didn't go actually inside Flow Builder, and I can kind of touch on some of this, and I will. But in terms of like editing, we already did everything. Like everything is connected and ready to go. So I'm going to look at the chat here and just see. Okay.
Yeah, and a few important points where you check that, Tyler, is now that with the flow in hand and Tyler walking through how to set it up, and as he touched on in the template setup process, he has a dedicated video. There's going to be a replay of this video as well too, to really slowly walk you through what we did, if things like bot fields and some of those things may be new, because we want to make sure you take full advantage of this free flow and resource. So yeah, those are some a few important notes as you allow this to kind of ramp up.
Sure. There's multiple kind of touch points in how to find this flow, this overview flow. And the overview flow actually goes into quite a bit more detail into like all the different nodes here. So again, I just wanted to cover kind of how you would edit this to match a product. And again, I didn't do anything for fancy links or anything crazy like that, but it really isn't that difficult. And you basically don't have to spend any time inside Flow Builder at all. And that's kind of purposely made that way. So that way it's not very complicated, very easy to use. So the next topic I want to go into. So actually, before I go into the next topic, are there any kind of questions in terms of that flow? Okay, so a rebate question not relevant to rebate is if it's not 100% giveaway, what is the discount customer respond to? Well, so I'll be honest, if it's not 100, it depends of your audience, but in terms of like rebates, it's really tough to say, oh, it's 80% off. Most people will respond really, really well to 100% off, and they probably won't to anything kind of lower than that. But I would say you can maybe get away with 80, but other than that, it really does depend where the traffic is coming from too. So if they're coming from a Facebook ad, for example, it's really tough to convert them. They're maybe coming from Instagram, you might be able to convince them, but yeah, it's tough to do kind of discount flows where it's like, oh, you're going to get 80% rebate instead of 100%.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the beauty of 80% plus, let's say, and this is, oh, I see the note in terms of last launch. I guess just in the perspective of ManyChat, where you're building your own list, obviously when you use last launch, it's more of a true launch service where you're investing more in the sales velocity. Even then, you want to do more extreme discounts for that reason, for hastening that process to where, let's say you run 40, 50% off. Let's say you run through paid ads, you run Google ads. That can be effective, but then that may take you twice as long to get there because then you might have some friction. Some of the conversion challenges may be there. Just purely running the ads, being optimized, having adequate spend. So the variables just get to be more complex. But having said that, if you can manage it and you can drip sales in an optimized way, those are still really effective ways to do it. So for me personally, and I think it's a person by person and then understanding product and category mix. I would rather realize that sales velocity as fast as possible. And that's where we often start from a place of 100% rebate, unless we have a really strong reason as to maybe to consider an alternative.
Okay. So actually there was a question from Ron a little while ago that I didn't read right away. So would Amazon gift cards kind of flag the system when you're running rebates? I want to say no to this, but the thing is, can I say that with 100% accuracy? Not really, no. Unfortunately, as sellers, we're actually very disconnected from the Amazon side, right? Like from the A9 team and just kind of from all of that. It's very different from kind of the Google. They actually get to interact with some of the more higher executives at the Google side. But what I will say is I don't think it does because I mean, yes, Amazon could, they track a lot of different metrics, but I don't believe that they're looking into kind of gift cards compared to their purchasing behavior. It's just a little far-fetched. It is possible, but it is fairly far-fetched, at least in my opinion. I don't know if you have anything else to add on that, Troy.
Yeah. I mean, one of the changes we made, and this was purely on feedback, not in response to any cases or anything like that, is that the Amazon gift card was removed from the pick reward link option. As you may see, and if this may be the first time you're seeing it, pick reward link allows your customers to choose over 100 different gift cards from all kinds of reputable retailers, Best Buy, Starbucks, Target. It's a really cool rebate experience. But based on seller feedback, people didn't want it in that set of options. So that's a little bit of like playing it really safe and how we've responded to it. But similarly to Tyler, we don't have anything to hang our hats on to say, they are monitoring this. We have this example, even if it's purely anecdotal and like one or two examples, which we can sometimes respond to just because we want to be super careful. We don't really have that. Amazon gift cards.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're very disconnected from like as sellers, not just us at Seller.Tools. It's just as sellers in a community, like we are disconnected from Amazon, and it doesn't seem like their executives plan on changing that anytime soon. It'd be really cool if we can get a jump on a call and see what their A9 people are saying, or see what their insert card kind of TOS compliant people are saying, or something like that. And maybe sometime down the line, we'll see if we can do that, but
Right.
I don't see it changing. So another question here is, in addition to rebate flows, do you have ManyChat flows on customer support / order follow-up S.T that we can solve? So I believe there are some that are free. If we would go into kind of I believe we can go scroll down here to ManyChat and flows. And I believe there are some, I think they might be a little dated. I'm not gonna lie. Like customer check here. But I don't think we have any that are really updated, but that's something I could, I guess, queue up in terms of just like making a flow that's like, hey, follow up. Yeah,
The two that I would encourage, because these are again two free flow, the check order status and the create MCF replacement order, those were really set up as immediacy of support and then getting a customer, let's say a free product right away. That's really the cool part about the ManyChat. I guess it is ManyChat, the multi-channel fulfillment, which makes up that MCF acronym, where we can automatically send a customer a free product. Let's say they have a bad experience. You're about to have a 1-star review adversely impact that listing. Of course, we would rather just send them a free product, make it right, handle it the same way Amazon would, of the immediacy of that support. This is where ManyChat and our integration with Amazon really shines, because we can let the customer kind of support themselves. So, but what I would say to that question, if you have other ideas of things that you want, the sky is the absolute limit. There's all kinds of cool things that we can do.
Especially in regards to ManyChat flows, like I'm totally willing to build them out. And I got a lot of different ideas, and I've already got a lot of different flows.
No, you don't have a ton of ideas.
I got lots. So yeah, and keep in mind, guys, that like everybody's a little different. So it is actually extremely difficult to make templates that kind of fit every seller, because believe me when I tell you, like every insert card that float I've ever made, it's very simple. I just want this and that, and then it comes out to be not so simple, because every seller's a little different. They want, oh, I want them to, be, I don't know, join my Facebook group. I want them to go here. I want them to do this. Oh, can we ask them for this? Oh, can we boo 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 and do all this other stuff? So it is really in your best interest to really understand kind of how to use ManyChat and Seller.Tools. And then that way you can really create your own flows and really customize the experience for your customers and just do whatever the goals you want.
Yep.
So another question here is, any plans in expanding PayPal and Pick Reward gift cards to GBP or other currencies? So I think Troy's gonna have to answer that one.
Yeah, it is something that is in our roadmap. I just could not give you a schedule right now, unfortunately. So we know when we've gotten some feedback on that. I just couldn't give you. We've got so many things in the works, which I'm excited to release, but it's in the roadmap of items to complete, but no specific time just yet.
That's pretty unfortunate. I know that there's quite a bit of on the Europe side. It's a big side that. Okay, well, it is what it is. So I think that about catches us up. I want to say, anyways. Let's just check. Yeah, we just answered that one. Okay, guys. So I think that's good. Let's go into kind of the next topic, which is add-on flows. Now, I call them add-on flows because essentially you have your main template, and then you have these add-on flows that you can just come in, take them, install them, and then grab that, all the nodes from that flow, and then paste it into your, rebate giveaway template or whatever other type of flow you're thinking. And we have 2 add-ons, and I have the time here, I believe, to go into kind of a live Q&A with you guys and going into it live. I don't have the time to do both, unfortunately, but they are extremely similar. Obviously, the methods are not so similar, but the flows themselves are very similar. So I'll let you guys kind of pick which one you want me to do, whether it be a URL rotator or it be a search find by kind of rotator, meaning, like you give them a keyword, they search for it on Amazon, and that's how they find your product. So I'll let you guys pick 1 or 2.
Awesome. And just to stress too, these are still free resources in that Google Doc. I want to make sure for those that want to maybe follow along or click through that you do have.
Right here at the bottom, I want to say right over here.
I think the response isn't so subtle. I can see that interest in search find buy.
Okay, so search find by it will be. But yeah, again, guys, you can install both templates to see what the difference is between both. And I purposely made it so if you actually take a look at the way the rebate automation flows, and I'll go into this a little bit later, there's like a huge void right here, which is the perfect spot to actually put in your search find by instructions or the multiple URL instructions. And I'll go into installing the search find by ones right now. So essentially, again, I'll have to stop sharing at some point here, but there's only one flow. It's really not that big. So I'll just stop sharing so I can pick the page and not share any sensitive information here. So let me just pick the page here quickly. Okay, so we're at step 3, and you don't really need to worry about anything. Like it's weird. I keep seeing these zeros and then it bugs me out a little bit. But you don't need to worry about anything merging. Like these things do not matter at all. I just like to always take a look at like kind of what's being brought in from the template. Like if I'm installing anybody's template, I always take a look at this just to see, because the more of these that you're having on there, the more complex usually that means the flows are. So if you have only like 2 things, for example, like this one, it usually means, okay, these flows are probably pretty simple to understand. So we hit install. And this is just a template page. Again, nothing fancy here to see. So we're just going to go into flows, and you'll see it's right over here. This is where it is. And you can probably put this in core flows if you really wanted to. That way you're like organizing it a little bit better. I would recommend having like a folder that's like your main folders that might not, or your main folder that might not necessarily be tied towards like rebate giveaways, but it helps situate them, like your sign up flows and all that stuff. Right, your internal giveaways or your search find buy stuff. Anyway, so let's get into the search find buy stuff. So essentially, here's what the flow looks like. Again, very simple, at least in my opinion. The traffic comes from right over here. It goes into 2 URL rotators, or I guess randomizers here. And the traffic by default is set to 100% on one keyword. Now, of course, you can definitely target more than one keyword. You can target up to 10 by default. Of course, if you want, you can add more. I just put 10 because 10 is a fair amount anyways. I've only once like went to like 13 at most. So it's very rare I pass like 8. So that's anyways. So then the next thing you want to do in terms of like editing this, and the first thing okay, back up. You need to make sure you have a rebate automation flow kind of already set up, which again, we already did. And the next thing you want to do is you want to have kind of 2 tabs open. You want to have your rebate automation tab open and your kind of search find by flow open as well. And I've clicked both edit buttons and I have them both kind of side by side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit shift and I'm going to click and drag. And I'm basically I want to drag basically everything except for this first little green step right here. So I'm going to drag all of this and then I'm going to hit Control C. And I'm going to go into my other tab here. And I'm going to have to zoom in slightly here. And then I click Control V, and it's going to paste in everything. Now I made it so this little condition right here, you butt it up against right here, and it'll fit kind of perfectly. I have to delete a little bit of stuff here, so just go like this. And what you want to do is you probably want to delete this little section right here. So we're just going to delete this, because it's not really important. What you want to do is you want to take this and actually link it towards the actual proper flow here. But this is where you can land it. You could land it a little bit closer to the top if you had that deleted right off the bat, but I'm just going to leave it here because it doesn't particularly matter. So what you want to do is you actually want to replace this, because this is the other kind of buying method. So you want to replace this. So you take this green little arrow right here.
Can you zoom in a touch too, Tyler? I just want to make sure everybody can see it clearly too.
So this is the kind of condition checking to make sure that they haven't, like there's still counters left, essentially, making sure that you're not going over that budget you set out. And this is, again, the link buying instructions, buying method. So we just take that and then we grab that and we'll put it into our first randomizer right here. Now from here, again, I build these out all the same, like where you have your instructions and your optional step and then your notes. I don't think I have any notes here. But anyways, the notes is just something for you to consider. The optional step is something that you can do, but you don't have to do. And then the instructions is something you need to do. So something you need to do is figure out what traffic goals you have. So if I was to target, let's say 3 keywords, you'd want to distribute your traffic here. So if let's say keyword 1 has, I don't know, let's say we have a keyword volume, total search volume of 10,000. Keyword 1 has 5,000. Keyword 2 has 3,000. Keyword 3 has 2,000. What I would do is put 50%, 30%, 20%, just like this. That way, the big keyword is getting most of the search traffic, and the other ones are getting relevant traffic to their kind of proportion. Okay, the next thing we want to do is actually edit this condition to match whatever basically keyword you're having. So I'm just going to put colored pencils here set as my first keyword. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to. So what you want to do, okay, so for whatever reason, it seems like the field installed a little weird here. Let me just take a look here. Okay, so that's a little odd. Am I on the right account here? Okay, okay, that's a little odd. So usually it doesn't do that. So let me just try to copy this again because it seems like it glitched, because usually it copies these fields. It looks like it didn't map it properly when I pasted it in over here. As you can see, like it's like, please enter your field. Usually it doesn't do that. So let me just try deleting all this. Maybe that's a new ManyChat. I don't want to say glitch, but it could be. Okay, so I'm just going to delete it and then repaste it in to see, because those fields should be there, because all you're doing is copy pasting type of situation. It looks like that's not the case again. Yeah, so okay, that's fine. What I'll do here is I'll do this a little bit different. So I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but that's fine. I could do it this way. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to map out these fields ourselves, which is a little annoying because it's quite a few fields to map out. Normally this doesn't happen, but I think for whatever reason, ManyChat's having a bit of a hard time. Or maybe it's because I didn't refresh this page. Actually, let me just try refreshing the page, because I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. I mean, it's only because I'm live probably, because this doesn't normally happen. So I'm pretty sure it's because I'm live and ManyChat has to throw me off a little bit. So I think it might be because this was an old non-refresh page and the new fields didn't come in. I'm gonna try copy pasting it one last time. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just link the fields one by one. Again, not ideal to do that, but let's try this one last time here. Okay, that seemed to work. So I guess it's just because the page needed to be refreshed there. So if that ever happens, you know what to do. So let me just find it up here. Perfect. Oops, I did not need to take that out. Okay. All right, that's fine. So for whatever reason, when I clicked that, it went a little wanky there. So I'm just going to put it back in its place. I don't really necessarily need these. Okay, let's put it back in its place. I know I'm doing a lot of back and forth here just because ManyChat threw me off a little bit. Okay, it's not looking pretty, but I'll just try to get this to work here so you guys can at least see it in action. Okay, it's being a little slow. Let's refresh it again.
And to confirm, Tyler, what this add-on does allows you to effectively rotate in a search find by format a variety of keywords that you can randomize with any, obviously right now the weighting is set up kind of as a default, but then you can change that randomizer to send, 25% to one keyword and 50% to another, and then maybe, really however you'd like it.
Correct. That is 100% true. So the way this is set up, and again, I'm just going to kind of go over this a little bit again here. So you want to make sure that right after, before this buying method, instead of going like this, because this is how it was going, you want to actually take this and then put it right over here into the keyword randomizer. And then you want to randomize the keywords. I'm not going to go over this kind of again, just because I know we're running a little tight on time. So I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit. So we're just going to keep 100% of this target keyword right here. And this is where I was kind of at when things just started going wrong. You need to edit the little part that says edit to match your keyword that you wanted to take. So I think in our case was colored pencil set. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click that. And instead of saying value edit, we're going to click, we're going to put in our keyword. So in this case, I just Control V, paste in my keyword. And the next thing you want to do here, this is called a branded search. This is actually really, really important. I don't see many sellers, if any, use this at all. What a branded search means that if you're not ranked to a certain position for said keyword, right, for this main keyword, you can actually do a branded search will actually help you get ranked for that certain keyword. Now, basically what that means is you're going to have, colored pencil set and then Crayola as the branded search term. So what it would look like is colored pencil set Crayola. And what that'll do is obviously A9's kind of, will know, oh, they mean this thing. And that will boost you up inside the kind of SERP page, which is search engine result page. That way people can find you very easily. And then when you do get that kind of main keyword, which is pencil or colored pencil set, ranked to a certain place, like maybe on the bottom page 1, maybe the top page 2, then you can switch to just doing a normal search, which is like no branded search, which you can change by just changing the randomizer right here. Now, by default, it does not do a branded search, meaning it will just take your keyword here and then paste it over here. So again, this is a tool to use if you're not ranked high enough. And you can also, if you really want, you can actually make it so your brand gets a lot more searches, which in theory would, show A9 that you're driving traffic to it, and that could benefit you in other ways. But again, it's like I can't scientifically prove that. So yeah, but yeah, this is what happens. This is how this kind of message works. It says go to Amazon, or go to Google, then go to Amazon. And the reason why I say go to Google is just because you don't really want them to see that the traffic is coming from Messenger. So you tell them to go to Google. There's no outbound links from Messenger. So they go there, they find their way on Amazon, and then they'll type in this keyword. So that whatever the keyword here, which in this case it's going to be colored pencil set, they'll type in that. And if there is brand name, which in this case there won't be, there'll be nothing there. So it'll just be colored pencil set. If there was brand name, then what it'll do is it'll actually paste that in here. And then this is the keyword that they're going to use. And there's a link going to Google, so that way they can land on Amazon. If you're doing another marketplace, you can change the link here to include whatever, Google or search engine you want to put in there. The next thing you need to do here, and I don't think I'm going to do it just kind of in this live example, because again, we are running a little short on time, is you're going to want to replace this image. You might be saying like, oh, these are some pretty random images. This is, I don't know if Troy wants to cover that, but okay, so
skip over it.
yeah, okay. So you just want to replace that image, okay, guys? That's all I'll say to that. And then you also want to add the product price. So in our case, the product price is going to be $5.97. So I'll just copy paste that right over here. And I'll just add a little money sign. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to make the price a little close. So that way people have to make sure they get it right. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll do $12 instead of, I'll add like a 7 there, or maybe I'll add a 5. Anyway, so I'll just play with the price a little bit. Again, not something you necessarily need to do. And then with the right product price, so the $5.97, you're going to want to take this and put that right over here. Okay, so you're essentially removing this thing right from existence. You can also see how there's something linked to it. What you do is you follow that line, which will lead you right over here, because this is if they get the wrong product. Then you just want to take this and put that over here. So I know there might be a little bit of questions here and there on this. Really not that complex. Again, there are instructions literally telling you guys what to do pretty much all throughout the steps. And then once you make all those changes, you'll just hit publish. And it's probably And then that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to add more keywords, what you would do is you change your randomizer here. Make sure though, if you change your randomizer, make sure that you add the keywords to the action steps. Because if you don't, what will happen is it'll say search, edit, and then they won't be able to find your product. So just make sure that you add, whatever your second keyword is, you'd add it right here. Instead of the edit value, you add, keyword 2, right? Whatever that may be. And that's it. And then once you make those changes, you hit publish. Okay, so let's see. Let's take in some questions. Okay, okay, cool. So basically after this call sometime, probably today, I don't know exactly if it's going to be me or Troy posting this, but essentially one of us is going to post kind of a poll where you guys get to decide what's the next talking point, meaning the next topic. I have quite a different list of different topics and ideas that we could talk about. Unfortunately, I can't just go into like the heavy, crazy advanced things. I have to go kind of step by step and make sure that you guys understand kind of the full scope of things. So some of the ideas on there, you might say, oh, well, like you're forgetting this or you're not having that. It's like chances are I might have it down the line. It might not be an option right now, but again, if you guys want to add different options inside this poll, right, again, it's going to most likely be a Facebook post inside FBA Kings, then you can do that. So I'd highly recommend voting on whatever topic you guys want to see before Monday for sure, because chances are, if it's after Monday, I'm probably not going to, I'm going to make my choice before Monday so that way I can make the slides, because it does take a little bit of time to make the flows, make the slides, so on. So I usually like to at least have from Monday to work to it.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Tyler. I want to answer, maybe address one of the points from the chat and the Q&A. In terms of it being a little bit complicated, especially if this is the first time you're seeing some of the ManyChat flows and updating bot fields, for sure. It is definitely, there's a lot at play here. So we'll make sure the replay will be available. Additional weekly trainings, Tyler and I will be taking part in, bringing any questions to FBA Kings as well, our Facebook group. We really try to make sure we're very supportive and active there. And then don't hesitate to reach out to our support as well, the Seller.Tools support. hello@Seller.Tools. We definitely are here to support you. That's really with any of the educational resources. That's our ultimate goal, to empower you with as much as possible. One thing that Tyler and I consistently see, and this is sort of bittersweet, is that there's actually not a ton of truly exceptional ManyChat and Amazon integrators. It's a really small pool, and many of those that make up that group may be those that are joining us. But what that leaves room for is for those that do spend a little bit more time with a lot of these strategies and tools, where we can reliably rank. That's one of our questions of like, is your strategy superior? Can I reliably rank? Can I automate reviews? Can I build a customer list? All the things that I always knock Amazon PPC for falling short on. This is our ultimate aim, to be able to, rotate keywords and rank for all of those, organic sales, and then, going back to those customers, getting back to internal giveaways, another strategy that Tyler kind of dove into and is available in some of our other replays as well. So let's see here. I see a few more. Can the flows also be used on Shopify custom? The flows themselves right now aren't really catered necessarily to, because things like order verification for Amazon purchases are set up. But I think that's something Tyler and I can definitely take back and think about how we can, what comes to mind, Tyler, maybe we can riff on this a little bit, is an internal giveaway to Shopify customers.
Yeah, no, for sure. Those you could definitely implement. I got a lot of different ideas just on other things you can do other than Amazon seller kind of flows.
Right.
Unfortunately, like obviously we're here to kind of focus on Amazon, and ranking is kind of my sphere that I hang around in a lot. Spend a lot of time kind of just understanding and testing different things and talking to different sellers, and then obviously implementing things. So I would say we're probably going to hang around a lot more on the kind of Amazon / ranking portion, at least in terms of like kind of these calls and ManyChat and so on. But Shopify is definitely something it can be taken a look at. there are a lot of great flows out there. I don't see that many, at least for Shopify. I haven't particularly looked too much in terms of Shopify, but I know you can do like abandoned carts and so on. It's just a little harder to pull that kind of stuff off. So yeah. So I see quite a few questions here, and I'd like to try to jump into those and then kind of maybe end the call here soon. So any extra time zones for counters would be great. I think that's something that we can maybe talk to the dev team about and see if we could install that. So that way there are more kind of additional, essentially, reset times is what I'm understanding from that, right? So essentially like right here, the counter value. So it resets at, midnight or noon. What you could do is you can have like maybe a different time, like, so on. So you could have different time zones resetting. I don't think that's something too difficult, but again, the dev team is really kind of buried with work right now, so I don't see that coming out, but that's something I kind of keep in my back of my head in terms of asking them if it's something they can implement. Do you prefer branded search over two-step? So yeah, I would prefer branded search. And the reasoning why is because you're still basically going on to Amazon's search bar and saying, this is the keyword plus brand name. To me, it shows like, this is kind of the way I would think about it. And again, like we are very disconnected from the A9 team. And those guys and girls are like data scientists, and there's like roughly 300 plus of them working on A9. So essentially, it shows Amazon, oh, this keyword and then this brand name, and then they're finding this product and they're purchasing it. That weighs that entire kind of search and all the different keywords in there with quite a bit. It gives them, what's the word? Attribution. It gives them a lot of like attribution for that specific keyword, and you're going to rank. So if you ever have run a ranking campaign, you'll notice that if you have like one keyword, maybe it's a long tail, maybe it's a short tail, that it'll rank for a lot of keywords that are relevant slash kind of similar, right? So if you're red spatula, it'll go for like small red spatula or something along those lines. Obviously, that's not the best example, but it'll rank for a wide range, a decent wide range of keywords that are similar. And that the reasoning being is because it's giving attribution. Some sellers will say, oh, it gives you X amount of attribution. I don't know how they figure out the numbers. All I know is it does give you attribution. So if you have said keyword, even if it has like an additional little bit, which is your brand name, it'll still give you attribution for the main thing you're looking for. And I think that's in most cases stronger than links. When will A9 ManyChat flows? So those flows, I think we're about 5 weeks out to those. I'll be really honest, maybe even further, because that's like really advanced stuff. And before getting into that, you need to talk about other things. But in terms of like meta actions, and if you guys want, you guys could implement this yourselves. But meta interactions are basically little things that you customers can do before doing the rebate process that will hopefully add and give Amazon better ranking signals. Example would be like doing a add to cart / delayed purchase, meaning you ask them to add to cart and then you do a delayed purchase, or you ask them to wait, I don't know, 23 hours or something along those lines, 5 hours, whatever it may be. And then they will purchase later down the line, and that'll make it look like a more organic experience. You can also tell them like, hey, can you go on this page, check out this? Oh, can you go on my competitor's page and see why you would pick ours versus theirs, and give us a, you say it's a survey. And then that way it makes it look more real because they're going on your competitor's page and kind of interacting there, and then they jump back on yours and then they purchase. Or you can do just more on-page time, right? So you could, again, word it as a survey and say, hey, can you go on my page, check out this, can you, what do you think about, take a look at the worst rated review and then let us know your thoughts on it or something like that, right? I have some flows kind of already built out like that, but again, like I can't, it's difficult to just like, oh, let's just throw all this stuff. So again, I want to cover other topics before getting into meta topics. So the next one is a little off topic. Announce a new feature, customer list. Okay, so yeah, I guess.
I can take the next two, and I think this will cover it and allow us to wrap up. So the first one is customer list. So I am super excited about that. You guys probably could tell from the video, and it's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. And yes, we plan to use it in last launch once it's ready. So of course, right now it's let's say alpha state, pre-beta. So not currently implemented. One of the cool things that you'll see and what we'll share as best practices is that rating, which will probably land in between B and C. So B being the first rating, which is the phone number, C being the buyer and buying and purchase history. And so definitely more to come on that. And what's really cool, this is what really excites me in terms of how it can be used, is that it's not just our launch platform that it can be integrated with. We are opening up the conversation to other strategic partners, other platforms, because they benefit from it too. Our vision is to sort of create a standard of giving sellers the visibility that we've never really had of, okay, I'm taking $5, $10, $15. We know you can be a heavy investment on a per rebate or per product basis, but what am I, what am I really getting out of that? And is that positively impacting rank? So definitely more to come there. But that is definitely in line with our thinking. And then, yeah, for add to carts, that will definitely be part of more of the A9 conversation and how we can tie that into flow. So I think we'll have more meat, more depth to that topic. But we can definitely dive into it a little bit more.
Yeah, that topic is probably further down the future, because like there's add to cart / delayed purchase, and then there's just straight up add to cart. Obviously, those are very different things all in itself. But those are something that I could see happening, but those are far down the line. I'd like to cover other things that are, in my opinion, somewhat more important, at least more basic and understandable.
Yeah, but great questions. Good things to be thinking about. But I'm sure everybody's going to see with this rebate automation flow, it is immensely powerful. Like I said, you're very humble, Tyler, in terms of what is being put out there and what is now available to be able to automate this entire process. And then that way we can just focus on supporting it. And then picking the most important keywords. Hey, there's another good topic. Doing keyword research without brand analytics, as many people do, which is again another area of opportunity, I think, for brands that think about, what am I doing different? What's the herd kind of, what direction they're going? How am I breaking from that? And that would tie into how you can use this strategy as well.
For sure. So I'm just going to drop this link. This is kind of an overview link of the actual flows, and it's a longer overview link than kind of what we did here. And it kind of breaks down kind of the steps you can take inside of editing the flows to kind of match, and it goes over the flows a little bit more detail than I did in this conversation. Again, I just wanted to go over how really simple it is to just take the flows we give you guys for free, the little beta access ones, and then all you really need to do is like set up the key and all this. Once your account's set up, it's like, you install these flows and then a couple of clicks away and you're basically done and you're good to go, and you can start running these campaigns. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible because I know a lot of people do not particularly enjoy being inside ManyChat. I like it, but most people don't particularly find their jollies off going in there. So I just wanted to make it super simple. And then at some point, we'll hopefully be able to develop other strategies that can really level up your kind of rebate game instead of just focusing, let's say, on like Facebook ads, for example. So one thing I want to say here, a lot of you guys might be in here, and some of you guys are already experts, but this is kind of an application form. So if you guys are maybe want to become, Seller.Tools experts / ManyChat experts, we have actually a type form that goes into kind of questioning you guys, and it's more like a way of kind of an interview in a way. And if you guys want to join that kind of expert community, then this is be the form to do that. So I'm just going to drop the link inside the chat here. And for those of you that are Amazon sellers that, see the value in doing this, or at least using some of these flows, maybe you're not the most comfortable in ManyChat. Maybe you want to, implement something more custom, right? Maybe we don't have something that you're looking for. What you can do is you can actually go to kind of the expert community. There's like an entire tab inside Seller.Tools for that. So I'd highly advise just kind of going in there, finding an expert that can kind of work with you, that maybe kind of fits your sphere, right? Maybe you want to do more Shopify stuff. So you want to include kind of ManyChat flows, maybe Seller.Tools stuff. You jump there, or maybe you want to do insert cards and you want to have a little something custom, then you jump onto kind of the experts and jump on a call with one of them, figure out where that is, because I think that's a pretty big thing, pretty good resource for you sellers that, again, see the value, but don't necessarily want to be the one spearheading it, because there's a lot of nuances that you may not particularly understand in terms of just like the logic / tech side of things. And I think one last thing I think I remember seeing, and I do want to go over this. I'm going to have to stop sharing just for a second. And then I just want to, I know we're cutting close on time here, but I want to essentially show you guys the difference between the Instagram flows compared to the rebate giveaway flows. Again, they are extremely similar. There's only one very tiny difference. Um, but it's worth mentioning because of it's still a pretty big difference, even though it's a tiny difference. So if we go into the Instagram flows, and this is what they'll look like. Again, very, very, like if not the exact same as the rebate automation flows. The only difference is that because of the way the rules are, at least as of right now, I needed to make it so, let me just find the right portion here. No, that's not it. Scroll back. Okay, so it's right here. So this is the part that's a little different. So when they actually, once you verify that the order is, properly made, right over here, for whatever reason this is disconnected. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because anyways. So once you say, okay, the order is verified, I'm gonna have to make sure that this is connected. I don't know why it's not connected, but once you verify that the order is made, you're going to ask the users, hey, when the order ships, click this button in order to get your rebate. And when they click the button, it's actually going to check Seller.Tools to make sure the order has been completed. And then it's going to go through kind of this condition here to make sure that, what's the status. If it's still being shipped, then it'll say, sorry, looks like your order's still been pending. Click this to check again type of message. And then that way the user's able to kind of kickstart the flow off themselves, because you can't do it automatically, because Instagram won't allow you to communicate with them outside of the 24-hour period, and there are no messenger tags to kind of go over that. So one really good thing about Instagram, and I know I've had quite a bit of little debate here with others, is you can actually DM people, and I mean like go on Instagram and then message them, like direct message anytime you want. So there's technically not a 24-hour rule. I know I just said there was, but there's technically nothing stopping you from re-engaging with your customers as long as you're doing it on a one-on-one basis within Instagram. So keep that in mind. So like this list that you're building, if you are using Instagram and plan on using Instagram, you're not only just gathering a list of people, but you can message them basically anytime you want. And the way you trigger flows, this is how I would do it anyways. And there will be alternative versions, but right now is the only way. Well, one of the only ways is you could just tell them, hey, type in X keyword, which it could be, pencil set, offer or something like that. And then that'll trigger a flow. So you could do a keyword trigger, and then that starts your rebate automation. So you can, let's say you have a list of DM people you can DM, like 25 people, and you just DM like 3 of them. You say, hey, if you're interested in this offer, type in this keyword, and then the bot will run you through the process. And you can use this type of bot if you want. It's again inside the kind of Google document right over here, and I would say it's one of these first ones right over here, down here.
Yep.
And that's the only difference between Instagram and the other ones. Obviously, it's Instagram, so that's a big difference too. But everything else is the exact same. But again, I needed to make this logic right over here different because of the rules.
All right, Tyler, I've got to cut you off, my friend. You just could keep going all day.
I probably could. So yeah, it's a good thing. Seller community with experts on another Facebook.
I'll drop a link too in the chat. So if you guys, you might have noticed, I asked you just to, if you don't mind engaging, sharing your feedback. Again, Tyler dives into all of this stuff. Again, that's why I have to cut him off. But that's great. It's awesome. If you wouldn't mind sharing, we'd love to have that. Love to have that for Tyler as well. And then let us know. As Tyler mentioned earlier, we're going to put a post in Kings, get more feedback as to what you want to see next. And we're going to just make a nice little feedback loop. What you want to see, what we can cover. That's what you're going to see every week from Tyler and myself, and then get your questions answered live. So a lot of cool stuff between what we're doing with Seller.Tools and Instagram. Like as you're touching on Instagram automation, like ManyChat is really coming back with a vengeance. And so a lot of the cynicism and a lot of things we even saw too, like end of last year, start of this year, it was tough. It was really tough to hang in there with ManyChat. And it's gotten to be really cool now. And a lot of our really big clients that we work with are really happy with some of their results, bringing it back online and using it really effectively. So
it's more like Facebook is coming back. It's not really
Yeah, that's true.
ManyChat's fault.
That's true.
It's just they're like the first things we see. It's like, oh, we're getting suspended, but really it's Facebook being a little bit more policing their platform, right? I think they didn't have many algorithms in place when they first opened up the platform, and we were able to kind of run free. And now they have a bit better of algorithms kind of policing. So there's just one last question, and then I think that's it. So the last question is there Seller.Tools community with the experts in it? And there is a small group of experts, but of course, the only way to get in there is if you are one. So again, that's one of the reasons why if you want, you can try to join that group um, and apply for it. It's nothing crazy, at least if you're fairly knowledgeable about ManyChat and Seller.Tools, then chances are you can probably make your way in.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for all the questions, for taking part. And we look forward to, again, more of your feedback for future content. If, again, found this helpful, please hop over to FBA Kings, let Tyler know. Thank you, Tyler, for taking the time to kind of dive into everything and more. And we're going to keep this good thing going every week. So hopefully we'll continue to see more and more of you each and every week, support you, give you the edge, strategies, tools, everything that you need to succeed and have an advantage on Amazon. So
Sure.
thanks again for joining us. Thanks, Tyler.
All right. Peace, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.